In order to understand the text's purpose and construction, you need to read the text closely and understand it. When you solve a jigsaw puzzle, your task is to recreate the image the completed puzzle presents, while each piece represents a different rhetorical property used to isolate a particular part of the image. Similar when you analyze a text, your task is to understand how these puzzle pieces fit and work together to create that final image. Can you recall your previous subjects or activities where you were asked to do an analysis? I hope you still can, because that prior knowledge of yours in writing an analysis would help you a lot in understanding the next series of lessons. Hello students! I am Teacher Prenzine, and I am here to discuss lesson number 3 about analyzing factual or non-fictional elements in the text. Writing an analysis enables you to unite your thoughts, recognize irregularities in your thinking, express your opinion or evaluation of a text, contextualize or explain the evidence for the readers. Hence, analyzing texts, particularly nonfiction, is an essential skill to acquire for scholars like you who will soon become research enthusiasts, news writers, or educators. Fundamentally, it will make your opinions and insights about a text more rational, systematic, and generative. To help you understand better the idea of writing an analysis of a nonfiction text, here are the general analysis prompts for nonfiction writing. Purpose. What is the purpose of the text? What kind of text is this? Is this appropriate for the writer's purpose? Language. What other interesting or unusual language features do you see in the text? Does the text demonstrate a varied vocabulary, or is it too dry or repetitive? Organization. What structure does the text broadly follow? How is the text laid out or organized? Is the overall structural organization appropriate to the text type? Are there any sections that might improve the missing text? Transition. Does the flow or progression of ideas in this text seem smooth and logical? Can you identify any clear instances of transitional or connective elements in the text? Is there an appropriate variety of these transitional or connective elements? Content. Is the information mostly fact, opinion, or a combination of both? Is the support relevant to the main idea? Does it relate to and enhance the main idea? Is the support logical? Does supporting evidence come from trusted or valid sources? Structure. Why is certain information placed as it is within the text? How does that placement emphasize or de-emphasize the information? How does the order of information align with the text's main idea and purpose? In analyzing a specific text, it is imperative to recognize its genre. Is it narrative, informative, or argumentative? to find the right questions to answer and give the needed information. The different concepts in writing and analysis have presented you with several sets of questions that you may use as a guide in accomplishing your future analysis tasks. The identified prompt questions in the previous topic only fall under the general practice of writing analysis, but this time you will be focusing on the sets of analysis prompts for each genre of nonfiction texts. Narrative nonfiction writing. What is the story about? What is the main topic of the text? Who is the main character? Who are the other important characters in the story? Where does the story take place? How does the place influence the storyline or sequence of events? Are there any conflicts or problems in the story? How does the conflict progress? Do things get worse or better? How does the conflict get resolved? What are the most emotionally charged parts of the story? How would you have reacted differently if you were the main character? Do you remember any similar series of events you experienced? What was the most memorable part of your own experience? Informational report. What is the main topic of this report? Is the overall purpose of the report clear? What would the author like us to do with this information? How does the author start and end this report? How efficiently did this report convey information to the reader? What makes this report interesting or uninteresting? What might the author have done differently to convey information more clearly? What were you surprised to learn about the topic? What other topics would this type of informational report be good for describing? What makes this type of writing different from narrative writing? Argumentative writing. What is the author's main argument? What would the author like us to do, if anything? How effective was the argument from your point of view? Do you have any prior beliefs or opinions that might affect how persuasive you perceive the argument to be? What about other readers who are likely to read this piece? What would be some other good topics for this type of argumentative writing? What were the primary sources to support the author's argument? What makes this type of writing different from an informational report or a narrative? When you examine one non-fictional text from any available sources, you tend to read the text with understanding. Therefore, the author must be familiar with the elements involved and must understand their individual roles in the literary work. Here are the main elements that can be found in a non-fiction text. First is character. Characters are the participants in the work of a non-fiction text that contribute to the development of the story. Characters in fiction and non-fiction share almost the same techniques. The sole difference is that non-fiction authors are telling the readers real persons. Second is point of view. It is the narrative perspective which describes the position of the narrator. It pertains to the position and how your story is being told. The point of view assumes different angles and positions depending on where the narration is coming from. Dialogue. It is the communication between two or more characters in the text. It can be a comment made by a person or a conversation by two or more people. Plot. It is a literary term used to describe the events that make up a story or the main part of a story. Non-fiction works like autobiographies, biographies, memoir, and personal narratives follow logical sequence of factual experiences. It has 5 sub-elements. In sequence, first is exposition, next is rising action, then climax, and then falling action, to resolution. Again, I am Teacher Pranzine and I hope you learned something about analyzing non-fiction elements in the text. Thank you for listening.